So let's create a product sheet. And a product sheet is a piece of paper or PDF that shows information about an individual product. If you have a store, you may want to produce these and have them as like little brochures people could take home. Probably more common in sales where you might have a product sheet for each individual item. You can create these in numbers and use some of the features numbers like tables for creating good product sheets. So let's take away the default table that's there and start with a completely blank document with a blank sheet in it. And now let's go and turn on rulers so we can see what's going on. We can check in preferences here and I could see I've got rulers set to inches, which is what I want to use. And I want to set some guides here by clicking and dragging in the ruler. And I could set a guide up here for exactly 0 so I can see the left side of the sheet. And let's say I want to print these out in 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. So with a margin, maybe I want to have like 7.5 inches as the width, just so I can get an idea as I'm building this. Now let's start off with adding a title. So I'll click here to add a piece of text and I'll add some title text. So I'll put a product name. And let me make a nicer font there. Go to text in the sidebar here. Let me increase the text size. I'll choose maybe a different font for it. And then I'll move this here to the upper left hand corner. Let's create another text box, and this will be for a description. And I could put this underneath here. Let me pretend there's more than there actually is. I'm going to shrink this down. I'm going to copy and paste a bunch of times. And then maybe I need an image as well. So I'm actually going to, I have an image right here on the desktop. I'm going to drag an image in and put it in there. And then I'm going to resize it, shrink it down so it fits nicely here. Let's create a different style here. So I've got these different styles. I could choose one like this and go through them all and see which one I like. I could choose this. I could customize if I want, maybe get rid of the drop shadow, but still have kind of that nice frame there. Make all sorts of adjustments. And when I get something it's kind of starting to look like I want, maybe let's make this font a little bit bigger. There. Then I could print. So I'm going to do File, Print. I just want to see what it looks like printed. And I've got here the printing set to fit, so it's going to fit no matter what size it is. But it does help that I've set it to 7.5 across, so kind of things are in proportion as I expect. I can tell when I'm getting to about 10 inches down here, I'm going to run out of space. But this so far looks pretty good. I'm going to hit Done here just to exit this. So now let's add some product information, and maybe that would work well in a table format. I'm going to add a table, the most bare bones table there is, like that, and I'm just going to shrink it down and add some information. Let's call this product information and come up with some things that maybe you would have for a light bulb. So like lumens, 800, just making things up here. And you could just put some sample information so we get an idea. And let's say to make this look nicer, I can select this entire row here and go to Text and right justify everything. And select this entire row and left justify everything. I can select the entire table here, and let's go to Cell and select all borders and set it so that there's no border. So now you have this nice no border thing here. I'm going to furthermore go to Table And I'm going to turn off all the grid lines. So now I just get a box around it. Let's go furthermore and turn off the table outline. So now I get nothing there. And I can now grab this table and move it here for some product information in a nice format. Let's select the title here, and I can go to text to make that bold. Maybe I also want to make the items here on the left bold as well. Maybe select everything there and increase the size a little bit. That looks nice. So by using the grid layout of Spreadsheets, I'm able to create something really quickly here that just is a nice little table of information rather than maybe in a page layout program creating separate little elements for everything and lining them all up. Now let's say this was a sales sheet. I wanted to show like that there are quantity discounts. We can create a new table for that. I'm going to do one that's got a header row here, and we'll do the quantity and the discount amount, and then we can do price per and total price. And then let's say, okay, the quantity 1, the discount will be 0%. And a quantity 10, we bought 10 of them, you get a 5% discount. 25, you get a 10% discount. 100, you get a 20% discount. And if you buy 1,000 light bulbs, you get a 25% discount. Now I can calculate these without having to put the numbers in individually, because what I could do is I could say, okay, so equals, and you could use the price from that. So now this being a table is very useful because this is a cell with some data in it. So I can do the price times, and what I want to do here is I want to say times 100% minus the amount in here. So if it's a 5% discount, it's 100% minus 5%, it's 95%. And that will give me the price per. And here it's going to be $7.99. If I copy and I paste into each one, let me go and check to make sure that this here is indeed preserving the row. I could say preserve row and preserve column, but don't have to worry about the column since I'm not changing columns as I paste. So now as I put it in, it's going to correctly, still grab this one even though this one is moving down one at a time. And you could see the price per individual one. And then you could do total price, would be the quantity times the price per, and you could put it in there and see that. So let's call this table here volume discounts. Let's select the whole table by clicking on the handle there, and I can stretch it to fit all the way across really nicely. Cool thing about this is it's so easy to add more here. So I can insert a row below here and say this is a discount at 500 and it's going to be 22.5%. And notice how since I just added a row in the middle there, the formulas came with. So I got these formulas and automatically calculated that. I could also, of course, change the price here and everything updates. In addition, I may want to go and see that some of these are going to be in the thousands. Select this whole column here, go to cell formatting. Instead of letting it be automatic, say it's going to be currency because I want to turn on the thousand separator. So now I can see the thousand separator there. Looks a lot nicer. So now let's look at what happened if I would go to print this, file, print, and I could see here it fits nicely on the sheet. I could probably go and move this table down a bit. Notice I've got a header and a footer for the page here, and the left, center, and right are all blank except for here by default it shows the page number. I can select that and delete it. So I don't want a page number printed out on this. So that looks good. I can hit done or I can hit print. If I hit print, I could save it as a PDF like that, but I could also go and do export to PDF here, and you could say I could jump to the print setup there to see it, or I could just continue on and export that as a PDF. I can maybe move this down to make it look a little nicer there. You can see there's 10 inches, so I know with an 8.5 by 11 sheet with 1 inch on the other side, I've got plenty of room down here, so I could do it here. Maybe add some extra text here at the bottom, some disclaimers and other information, contact information certainly onto this. Now I could create an entire document filled with these sales sheets, so I can add another sheet here, get rid of this table there, and I could actually copy and paste. I can select items or do Command A to select all, copy and go over here and paste it in, and then change the name and the description. I could select this image here, go to image, and you can take and hit replace and then select a new image to go in there without having to reset it and lay it out and all that. I could also go in here and duplicate a sheet. So instead of having to go and copy and paste, I've got 2 sheets now with the same thing. I actually have 3 sheets now with the same thing. I can also name the sheets, so I can name this light bulb. What Numbers isn't good at is like universal changes, like if I want to make the titles for all of these sheets a different font, I do have to go into each individual sheet. However, I can use styles to get around that a little bit. I mean, I can't change things like position, but I could say, okay, let's set the style here. I could have used the title style, for instance, for this and for each one of these. So I'll change it to style, title. So each one of these is using the title style. And then I can go back here and change the style. I can make it larger, right? And then you can see it says title with an asterisk, and I can update, and it would update the title style now to be 36 point, and in each page the style has been updated. I could also, of course, go and add a new style. So I can create styles for the description. I can create styles for this, even like special styles for the price here, if that's supposed to be in red or something like that. So you can use styles somewhat to help you update things across different sheets. Now, if you want to see some more examples of this, you don't need to look any further than what you get in the templates. So I can go to New, and then I can look at some of these templates here, and they use some pretty advanced layout stuff. So for instance, the recipe one is very similar to the product chart, where you get, there's an image, there's some nicely formatted tables here, some text boxes, even a shape here, a line. And also you get ideas of what can be done and click on them and then examine, see what fonts and different settings each thing is using. You could also go and look at other ones, like for instance the party planner is interesting because not only does it have just various elements like that, it also has a nice chart here that comes from the data here, and there are calculations being performed just like we did. So I can change the number of guests, for instance. Say if there are 20 guests, I can see that the budget for the party goes up. This even has multiple sheets in it. So there's a guest list here, vendor list, to-do list. So a whole bunch of different things here put into one actual spreadsheet document with different sheets in it and some nice layout as well. So look through some of those other examples. That's one of the main ways to learn how to do things, is looking at these examples, dissecting them, and then incorporating what you learn into new documents that you create.